Okay, so I'm gonna do a little segment on the champion here. If you got any questions about it, go ahead and toss them in chat, and I'll answer them on the fly as best I can. Let's see here. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna hop back out to character creation, and just for fun, I haven't seen it in a very long time, is we are gonna play the class video for the champion.
The champion is the consummate warrior, unrelenting in battle. His fervor allows him to make increasingly powerful attacks, dealing great damage quickly and efficiently.
All right, so obviously a damage class. What we're gonna do? Go ahead. I'm gonna create one real quick, and then I'm gonna go back to my main. Let's see here. Champion. Okay. So a champion, you can only be an elf, a man, or a dwarf. You cannot be a hobbit champion, which is highly disappointing. I know it doesn't make sense in the lore, but it would have been hilarious. Um, I wish my main would have been a dwarf champion. Uh, they're pretty hilarious. So in this case, I'm gonna make one. And I do think a elf champion is consistent with lore, just because you do have Glorfindel. Glorfindel is one of the best elf warriors, um, and so very, very consistent with. Uh, I mean, and they did have to go to war. They were there were some melee damage dealers, just good fighters. I mean, a lot of people tend to think with a with an elf, you're immediately looking at Legolas and you're thinking Hunter. Um, but even Elrond, he was a little bit hand to hand. So sure, definitely consistent with lore. Sure. Um, oh, speaking of classes, real quick, there's actually a couple things that bother me a little bit. Um, I know people go up in arms about rune keepers and being lore breaking. I don't really give a crap about that. There's nothing specifically stating about dwarves or elves that can look at rune stones and fire lightning, or fire, or whatever. There's nothing in the lore that um, about lore masters specifically. You basically have wizards and people that dabble in conjuring, um, but there's nothing specifically about lore masters. So there's going to be some give and take to make a game work. So I don't get too fussy about certain things like that. There's one that kind of bothers me, um, and it's captains. Um, I know captains are specifically stated in the race of man, but I mean, if you have any type of army, which the dwarves certainly did, and actually what the hobbits would have had during the Battle of Greenfields and things like that, you would have had captains, you would have had generals, you would have things like that. You have to have some type of ranking system. So um, I would have at least liked to see dwarf captains. Hobbits are the ones that are, if they have wardens, how come they can't have, and they have wardens and guardians, but they can't have champions? I don't know. That's kind of weird. But anyway, back to champions. And make our, yes, they do make some pretty sweet swords, by the way, elves. So I'm gonna make my dwarf champion. I'm gonna skip the user tutorial. Let's see here. optimize some stuff here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh. That's perfect. Okay. Oh, random generator, and it's taken. Alright. There we go. Enter Middle Earth. So, champions, you have 3 different lines that you can go into. You can go into single target AoE damage, so multi-target, or tanking.
While about to begin your long day of work at the Silver Deep Mine, an old man beckons for you to come near. He is a close advisor of Thorin Oakenshield, the master of these halls. What could he have to say to a simple miner such as yourself? Will you humor an old man and walk with me for a spell?
Yeah, it's a pretty stellar dwarf. It's really a toss-up. My original champion was, we didn't have the current tree system, so I was a hybrid. I had a lot of single target stuff in there with some AoE. Back in the old system, you had 7 virtues that you could pick, or not virtues, but traits that you could pick from. And I went 4-3. It was 4 single target, 3 AoE, and I never actually put in a capstone because I thought they were all useless at the time. So now with more distinct play, it depends on how aggressive you want to be. If you're going kind of slow in your questing, I might go single target in the red line. If you're being a little bit more aggressive with pulls and pulling more than one thing, then go AoE. Now the great thing about the new system is that you can switch when you're out of combat. So if you primarily go in red line and then you get into a situation where you look like you're going to pull multiples, switch over to AoE and you're fine. So let's see here. I don't think there's a ton I want to show you with this. I can't even access the trait panel yet because it doesn't exist until a certain level. So in this case, I am going to back out. And sorry, Bramji, gonna delete ya. Need that slot for my Bjorning when it comes out in update. Hey, dude. Alright, let's go back to the man, Bloodborn. Or elf. However you look at it. Hooray, back in Galtrov. Cool. Alright. So, Bloodborne is my champion. He is my main. I've been playing him since 2007. And let's see, let me pull up my traits for him. So primarily, I roll around in the Berserker line, or red line, or single target line. I've liked single target. I like AoE. I like going in and smashing a bunch of things, but sometimes just seeing the bigger numbers on single targets is fun too. Like I said, it made it easy enough to switch between the two, so it would make a huge deal. Everything on the champion is based on fervor. So this little section down here, that's our fervor meter. You can see it has 5 pips on it, or 5 intervals, or 5 sections, however you want to call it. there are skills that are going to build fervor, and there are skills that are going to take fervor away. So you're going to notice on my bar right now, there's actually several skills that are grayed out. I'm going to come over here to the dummies for a minute. 1 second. Alright, so I got some dummies over here. So if I even just auto attack, okay, you're gonna notice that a lot of my skills still aren't lit up. Can't use them yet. And I'm wondering what skill was right here. That always bothers me. So later on, I think you'll probably have, can't remember what level you get Battle Frenzy at, but at default it actually does 2 things for you. It gives you a instant 2 fervor, and then it gives you every 3 seconds another fervor pip. That actually can be increased down your trait line, but I think it's in the AoE line. It doesn't really help you in single target, but there are some things in single target that will generate additional fervor. So typically how I will play is if I am coming up to a target, there's a couple things I'll do. And it's right in this section here. I have Battle Frenzy, Champion's Duel, and Controlled Burn. I don't always use Controlled Burn unless it's something I'm going to be in a fight for a little bit. So what I will tend to do is I will pull with Champion's Duel to start that buff going. It'll get you in combat. I'm gonna pop Battle Frenzy and then start going to town on stuff. I really want to know what that skill was that I pulled out of there. I don't tend to use a lot of different skills. I don't even really have a set rotation, to be honest with you. I have things kind of laid out in the amount of fervor it takes. 1 through 5. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find what's missing here. Looks like I pulled a Raging Blade out of there. And what else? What else? This is why you lock your skill bars. Ferocious? Nope, that's in there. Well, this brings up a good point in here. I'm actually going to close all these down here. So you have a couple different things that will build your fervor. And oh, there's what I took out of there. Swift Strike. Cool. I try to build things out a little bit of a rotation, but I don't necessarily use it. What I mean by that is I'm going to pop Battle Frenzy first because it has a really long cooldown. I'm going to use Wild Attack because that gives me that 5% chance, which is huge as far as if you're a damage dealer. And then Swift Strike. So, actually, Merciful Strike. That's interesting that says that's under building the fervor when it says it removes 5 from fervor. So in this case, I only really have 3 skills that are in build fervor. Everything else is going to. Wait a minute. Where is this? Strike. Toe to toe. So that adds fervor. So let's swap these guys. Blade Wall used to. It does nothing for fervor. It doesn't cost. It doesn't build. So I kind of keep that one over here on my single target line. I keep that over here with some AoE stuff. Okay. So in this case, Wild Attack is going to start building fervor. While that's on cooldown, I will use Swift Strike, and then Dev Strike does a buff as well now too. Seeing stuff all over the place now with the new update. But anyway, we'll go Battle Frenzy, and now I'm full fervor already, and I can start unloading. And I have my crit bonus. Some people like to actually throw Bludborn in. It actually interrupts everything. A lot of times I honestly forget to do it. So you see that if you do that right there, so if I do a long induction skill like Ferocious Strikes where it's got 3 hits, and I wait for Clobber to come back up. So if I do Ferocious on that first hit right here, and pop Clobber in there, I can immediately start doing another set of skills. So it can kind of help you out getting your maximum DPS. Like I said, honestly, I just forget to do it a lot of times. I can pop, if you're in a long fight, just pop everything you got. And then you'll just start hitting things like a dump truck. Okay. And let me actually check out, I think I have, yeah, I actually have my AoE weapon equipped. Let me switch that out real quick. Let's see. So I have an AoE one-hander and an AoE two-hander. And somewhere in this mess of an inventory, I have a... There it is. Okay. I have my single target one-hander. I was in the process of making single hand and two-hand versions of both AoE and single target, so I had everything. Didn't quite work out. Yeah, there we go. Cool. What else? Let's see. If we're actually looking at traits, it's important that you know your base, two-hander or dual wield. Really depends on preference, and in my opinion, the two-hander. I think the way it was originally designed is the two-hander was going to be for single target. You're going to get some really big crit numbers with that. It's a little bit slower. Used to be a lot more power efficient. Power's not really a problem anymore. But you get extra strikes on your dual wield in AoE. So I think that was really designed that way, for a dual wield to be AoE. I just like the faster paced feel of dual wield, even in single target. That's just me. Could be totally wrong, but it's worked for me for many years, and I don't know. That's what I stick with. Like I said, I was actually trying to build out all 4 legendaries just so I had each setup, but just didn't quite get there. Back to the traits on here. Whatever you're spec'd into, like in this case I'm spec'd into the Berserker, all of those slots are going to cost 1 point. Anything that you put into your secondary trees are going to cost 2 points. So like I actually dabbled a little bit down into the AoE spec, and I put second wind in there so I could actually get some more power regen, which is pretty nice. So that's my single target setup. I'm gonna might be kind of tough to see on the stream how many points I've got into certain things. But I have nothing into Ebbing Ire. Honestly, champions used to be aggro managers. We actually used to be able to take threat from one thing and dump it onto another. Then they changed that. Then you could only have Ebbing Ire or Rising Ire depending on your stance. That has evolved yet again to depend. I think you can only get Ebbing Ire. I don't even think Rising Ire is a thing anymore. And unless it's in the tank stance, which I just don't use that often. But so that's kind of gone. That used to be a really cool finesse. I mean, that was a thing that made you a good champion. Yeah, anybody can go in there and swing their weapons and hit stuff and get really big numbers. But to be an effective champion, helping your tank and your healer out was to take that threat the healer was making and transfer it to your tank. Just being that manager. It was pretty cool. It was a nice feature, but it doesn't exist anymore. The only thing that you can really do now is generate a ton of aggro yourself, doing a shit ton of damage, and then dumping it to your tank. Or, if you want to have some fun, dump it to the hunter so they die. I say that jokingly because I have a hunter as well. So I'm going to move down to my second one, which I haven't reset since the update, which is awesome. So I'm going to go in Spec 3. And so here I'm going to do Battle Frenzy. Blade skill damage, I'm going to put all the way up to 5. Definitely want Raging Blade. Yep, need 5 on the AoE targets. And yes, please, to 60% damage. Definitely yes to Great Cleave. Definitely yes to Battle Acuity. Plus 25% damage to AoE. This is kind of nice. Just on every blade skill, it's got a chance to restore health. Can't go wrong with that. Blade wall damage, absolutely. Not too big of a fan of the horn damage thing. I use it, but I just don't really care how much damage it does. I do want to increase how much Battle Frenzy gives me. Don't really care about finesse that much. It's nice to have, but I'm not going to waste points in it. I got Blade of Courage, Champion's Advantage, pretty dope skill. Bypasses a lot of their mitigation if it actually goes off. And then every blade skill has a 15% chance to generate fervor. Awesome. And Fury of Blades is a dope skill. Big crit hit. Okay. So in here, that kind of filled out the way I want it. So over in here, I'm going to come in and definitely bump up my melee crit chance to the maximum of 5. What else I got over here? Don't need Ebbing Ire. It's just strikes. I don't really have that many strike skills in the stance, so I'm not going to worry about that. Could drop this to... Yeah. Minus 10% attack duration. Pretty dope. And then... I do want to pop this second wind in there. I think that's pretty crucial if you're going to do any type of raiding or stuff like that, or where you get a lot of power drains and stuff like that, so it comes in handy. And then the other 6 points I'm just going to dump into wild attack, since that's still a skill I'm going to use to build fervor. Okay, I'm going to apply. And this is going to dump a bunch of skills into my bar. Pretty much where I had them before, except for that. Okay. And I actually did buy an additional slot because I did want to build out my tank. And on this, I'm pretty much going to do second wind. Yep. Let's do the express. Well, actually, no, I'm going to go back. As you build out your trait tree here, you're going to get this line right here. So, and as you hit certain ranks, I think it was like 5 points, and so on down the line, you get a lot of bonuses. So you get your fervor bonus, a strikes bonus, on every crit hit it generates a fervor pip. That's why it's important in single target to get that crit all the way up, because as you're critting, every time you crit, you're getting fervor. So you can just kind of keep going. Plus 5% remorseless, chance for 10% remorseless. That's awesome. Renewing strikes, giving us that morale back. Red haze on every kill. Adds 5 fervor. It's amazing. Dev strike bypasses 40% mitigations. And continuous blood rage. Don't use continuous blood rage a ton, but it's kind of nice. Breaks you out of stuns and roots and stuff like that. But that's really how I build out my character. And as far as stats and gear and everything like that, they did a couple things with stats that I like and don't like. What I do like is that it's simple, I guess. I'm a champion. I want might and vitality. Everything else is kind of meh. So I'm going to stack might because that's my offense. Actually, I'll hover over that. Might is going to be my physical mastery, which is my offense rating, and my parry rating. And then obviously the vitality is going to be my max morale and resistance and non-combat morale regen. So I pretty much want to stack might and vitality. So if you look at the kind of stuff I'm wearing right now, primary stat is going to be might, secondary stat is going to be vitality, crit on there, mastery rating, and morale. So that is purely a champion item right there. And might, bit, crit, fizz mastery, and max morale. And a lot of this stuff from big battles is that way. Might, bit, crit, mastery, morale. So on down the line. So if you notice, like right now I have 4,560 might and 3,427 vitality. So my offense is pretty high. My crit rating sits at 27.2%. So as I'm going, let me fire this dummy up again here. Get some of this stuff going. Yeah, so with the wild attack buff on, I'm at 32.2% crit. So that kind of keeps me in a crit chain that I'm just going to be at max fervor and I can just blow stuff up. Pretty fun. Back in the raiding days, there were a lot of times where I would have to back off because I was just flat out doing too much damage. So that was always kind of a good feeling. But that's about it. I mean, so you build out. My recommendation would be for leveling, go red line. If you're gonna get into an aggressive pull, switch it to yellow line. Until you get to your legendaries, your weapons aren't really gonna matter that much. As far as if you're dual wielding or using a two-hander. Like I said, a two-hander is going to be probably more of your single target stuff, and then your two one-handers are going to be for AoE. So keep that in mind. Like I said, I'm probably an oddball because I like single target and the two one-handers, but it works. It's just a little different. Stats, like I said, might is your bread and butter, so if you come across an item that has will, vit, and fate, if it's better than what you got, go for it, but you want to stack might. Stack it, stack it, stack it, because that just means you're going to hit harder, and that's kind of why we have champions. There's not really that much more to the champion. It's just, do you want to hit one thing really hard, or you want to hit a bunch of things really hard? I don't get into the tanking too much. I did it one time. We did a Heligrad spider wing with 4 people at level, my champion tanking, and we beat it, which was cool. It was very, very stressful. Just because we landed 4 people, but do you have any questions about the class or anything in specific you want me to touch on? So survivability, So if you're level 40, I'm guessing you're probably in either the Misty Mountains or Angmar, maybe Trollshaws, maybe Evendim. And you're sure it's actually a solo quest and not, you know, a small fellowship or anything like that, because I do have a couple of those sprinkled in there. Okay. I guess the best advice I'd have for that is just try to be more strategic with your pulls, unless it's stuff that automatically comes at you. And I can go out to another area. I mean, even being heavy armor and whatnot, the heavy armor, you're still going to get lit up by tactical tactical NPCs and ranged NPCs. Where you really shine is against melee classes or NPCs. But so if you got something that's casting at you or that's firing arrows at you, you need to blow them up quick, because those are going to do the most damage to you. Range has always been a problem for me. It's always been, I get lit up by them, so I tend to take those out first. Well, here, let's do this. I will go into the instance finder. Let's go down into what we got here. School and a library. So school. And this will be at level 95, which is where I'm at right now. I haven't leveled this guy yet.
The school at Thom Mirdain was once a pinnacle of learning during the age of the Noldor,
These guys
but it
are
has now fallen
signatures and
into
elites.
disrepair. and is overrun by the minions of
going
Saruman,
to switch to
who
my
seeks
AoE
greater
spec.
knowledge of the rings of power.
And I'm just going to go... So, you'll see here, so he's hitting me for... He just crit on me, but... So that range is hitting me for 500, 200, 200. So that's hurting more than the melee. Make sure you're speccing to, if you are single target, if you've got enough points to get down to where you're getting morale regen off of your attacks, or if not, go into AoE and see if you can get far enough down the chain for that. You're gonna notice things really change too. Each time there's an expansion, the stat cap changed, and you'll see the adjustments start taking effect. So when you actually hit Moria, you're gonna notice the gear immediately change, which you can start. You can immediately start that at level 45. You can start that epic in a Region. Big battle's worth it. Ugh, that's a loaded question. While leveling, I don't think so. At max level, sure. You get good gear. A lot of what you're seeing that I was wearing is from big battle stuff. Let's see what I can do against this guy up here. Disarmed. That's what sucks too. If you're a champion and you get disarmed, you basically do shit except for left click and auto attacks with range. It'd be amazing. Alright, let's see what I can do with this guy. I should be able to beat him. This used to be such a pain in the ass at original level. These guys were really, really tough. But, let's see what we can do here. So, in AoE I make sure I have my exchange of blows on and my rend on. The rend is actually going to stack. Trouble here, so I need to use fight on. A lot of the stuff you're not necessarily going to have yet. But I think I got this. So, yeah, if you're doing AoE, you're gonna make sure you have your exchange of blows up and your rend stacked, because that's gonna maximize your AoE DPS. Like right now, I'm on a rend tier 3. It's 500 damage every couple seconds. That's huge. I think capped out it's like 700 damage every couple seconds. It's every 2 seconds for 30 seconds with the armor reduction. That's really nice too. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and come in here. I'm gonna do a big old pull here. See how much trouble I can get myself into. Just knock down. I feel like it's almost overpowered now to actually have a heal return on killing stuff in AoE. It's just kind of silly. And on top of that, having bracing attack. I mean, this is a 3-man instant, and it's just aside from being knocked down. Come on. There we go. Oh, now I'm disarmed. Amazing. I guess I can pot out of that if I really wanted to. Come on. You're gonna make me use a pot? Alright, well, I need to regen before I fight him. And now, since I'm in a situation where I'm only gonna have him, I'm actually gonna switch back over to single target. Okay. I wanna maximize my damage on him. I'm not worried about hitting multiple things, so I want as many single target things that I can pop him with. Alright, that should be good. Yeah, VIP, I'll be perfectly honest. I love that the game is free to play because it brings in a different dynamic of players, people that can't necessarily fork out 10, 15 bucks a month on top of additional content and things like that. But if you are able to have the subscription, I do the every 3 months, so it's only $10 a month. I highly encourage people to do it. Just experience the game for what it is. Free to play is nice. It's like an unlimited demo, but I like having all the content at my fingertips and having all the perks available to me, like the enhanced XP, being able to use, being able to go out into the Edinmoors without buying a pass to go out there. There's just so many perks of being VIP that it just makes sense to me. I mean, I'm going to play the game. I want to enjoy it, so I'm just going to get the most out of it. Alright, let's go see if we can kill this guy. He's only got 254,000 health. Shouldn't be too big deal. Now in this case, I am going to start off by using Controlled Burn, Champion's Duel, and Battle Frenzy right out of the gate, just so I can maximize my damage on him. I'm going to pop that guy, Champion's Duel, that. Now I got my crit going, and let's start going to town. Use your bracing attack early and often, because you want to have that up when you need it, so you want it off cooldown. If you get into a sticky situation, that's when you use Fight On. Like right now, I'm losing a lot of health fast, but I use Fight On. Actually, toss a pot in there. Probably didn't need to. Oh, he's gonna take that damage though. He does an AoE. I'll sit back here and be hunted first. And interrupt that. You want to use Champion's Duel basically every time that's up. And done. Nice. That's all there is to it. So, it is a situational class. Make the use of it. Yeah, bracing attack is money. For me at this level, that's a 1467 morale heal. Does cost fervor, but if you use something like Battle Frenzy right away, you're going to be in a situation where you're generating very quick and your crits are going to build. So that's going to be pretty much available to you when you need it. And in comparison, that's actually on par with the pots. And your incoming healing rating does affect bracing attack as well. So, yeah. But, you have any other quick questions or anything else I didn't touch on? Okay, well, that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for the champion then. Might do some other ones. I know you had mentioned the Lore Master, so maybe I'll do that one next. I'll be honest, I have one of every class at 95. I've spent half of my entire playtime on my champion, so he is by far the one I know the best. I can get by on the other classes pretty okay. But in general, if you have champ questions, come find me. I'll help you. The other one I know fairly well right now is the Minstrel. I have a 95 and then a 60 on another server, so I've been playing them quite a bit. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. And if you do have any questions, you can hit me up on Twitter. It's just at Bludborn. Also on Facebook at facebook.com/Bludborn1. Also, make sure you follow me because I'm on Twitch nightly. Sometimes on the weekend I'm not on, but I do stream fairly often. And then I also have my YouTube channel. That's just youtube.com/Bludborn. I think it's /user/Bludborn, but I'm on there too. So I got stuff on there. That's it. That's gonna do it. I'm gonna stop the stream, but I'll stay and chat for a little bit here.